Kimmel and Tracy Savage star in Friday the 13th, Part 3. Next.
Lived the horror. But this is the one you've been screaming for. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Jason is back. He moves like a shadow. Dark and silent.
Sorry you changed your mind?
He never utters a word. He doesn't even seem to breathe.
Where the hell's the corkscrew?
He simply, mindlessly, mercilessly kills. But now, Jason's reign of terror is over.
Supposed to be a new beginning. The killing had stopped. The nightmare was over. But true terror never dies.
Looks like we got us a maniac on the loose.
Jason.
Friday the 13th, Part 5 on USA. Tomorrow night at 8, 7 Central.
But it's no ordinary Friday, because an old friend is back for a visit. Friday the 13th, Part 8. Just when you thought it was safe to use the phone again, Jason takes Manhattan.
Jason, the guy's dead now.
Wrong. Don't they ever learn?
Don't push him too hard.
Right, because he's back again in Friday the 13th, Part 8. Friday, May 13th. It's Jason versus Tina. Don't go in there! The match made in hell.
There goes the neighborhood.
Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, rated R. Starts Friday, May 13th at a theater near you. He was the first to make your heart pound.
Where is he?
He was the first to make you scream for mercy.
He's probably out there somewhere.
He's the first name in terror.
Jason?
And he's about to meet the last word in destruction.
You don't want to mess around with me.
Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, rated R. Starts Friday, May 13th at a theater near you. On Friday, May 13th, Jason meets his match.
You don't want to mess around with me.
Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, rated R. Starts Friday, May 13th at a theater near you.
Yeah. Well, since we're here, I'm like always. Look, you've got to call the police. There's a payphone in back, but it's broke.
Look, you don't understand. There is a maniac trying to kill us.
Welcome to New York.
Wow! Jason is back.
Friday night on HBO, Jason dons the hockey mask for another gory go-around in Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
Someone is waiting.
Hey, don't go in there!
There goes the neighborhood. It's Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Friday at 12:30 a.m. on HBO. Earlier at 12.
So
weekend to terrorize Manhattan in Friday the 13th, Part 8. And we caught up with the fans outside a Hollywood theater to get their immediate reaction to the new film.
I liked it very much. I thought it was better than the last time.
Well, the body count was more this time. And I think it was more scarier than any of the Friday the 13th I've seen.
I thought it's pretty bad. I've seen it all before. I thought as it was going to be in New York, you'd see something different, but it was pretty bad, really. I didn't like it.
More later. In other news, after New York officials threatened to sue, Paramount Pictures agreed to remove the original promotional posters for Friday the 13th, Part 8, where Jason is flashing through the I Love New York logo. I'm Terry Utley. More later.
Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason takes Manhattan. New York has a new problem. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 28th at theaters everywhere. Part 8. Jason takes Manhattan. Now, New York has a new problem. The city.
Give me your mic.
That has seen it all. Ain't seen nothing yet. Now, Jason's gone uptown.
There is a maniac trying to kill us.
Welcome to New York.
Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 28th at theaters everywhere.
There is a maniac trying to kill us.
Welcome to New York.
New York has a new problem.
No!
Come back. Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 28th. The biggest city in the world is about to be scared.
You are dead meat.
Down to size.
It's cool, man. It's cool.
Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 28th.
I want you to have a good time this weekend. What happened to me at the lake happened a long time ago.
Let's go for a swim. We'll be all alone.
Nights are always so peaceful and quiet.
The quiet can fool you.
Dana Kimmel and Tracy Savage star in Friday the 13th, Part 3, Friday night at 11 here on 13. For Showtime.
There's a storm at sea.
You're all gonna die.
And it's blowing terror to the Big Apple. Now, the only safe place to be
You are dead meat. Yo, man, it's cool. It's cool, man. It's cool.
is out of town. Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 28th at theaters.
And each other. You can't get the adrenaline pumping without the terror, good people.
And with Jason's Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, Part 2. Friday the 13th, Part 3. This horror trilogy weekend begins Friday, May 18th at 10, 9 Central on the Movie Channel.
Good friends. Some wild times. What more could anyone ask for except maybe to survive the weekend? The Hockey Mask Killer is back exclusively on the Paramount Movie Network. Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter.
Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason takes Manhattan. Now, New York has a new problem.
David, would you take a stab at how Jason's going to do this time around?
Yes, I'll be happy to. I'll go on record right now as saying it's clearly going to do well. The last 7 have done smashingly, and so there's no reason that this shouldn't as well. Apparently, New York is in something of an uproar about the fact that they're using the I Heart New York logo, and that they're taking umbrage at it. But he's very smart. Jason Takes Manhattan. What's nice about it is they obviously have a sense of humor about themselves also. Even the title, Jason Takes Manhattan.
They do, and Paramount has broadened the series now by moving it to New York. I think that's something, that New Line has not done with the Nightmare on Elm Street, and I think New Line will regret it. I think that Paramount is very smart on this.
Plus, this is, one of the classic paint-by-number school of filmmaking, and yet they will keep doing it as long as it keeps making money.
Will we?
Jason is back.
Thursday night on HBO, Jason is a zombie with a chip on his shoulder, but this time someone's there to knock it off in Friday the 13th, Part 7.
He's waiting.
Hey, don't go in there!
Gotta hand it to the guy. He's persistent, and he's back in Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, at 9 on HBO.
Kane Hodder may not be a household name, but you've certainly seen him before. He's been in a number of movies and TV shows. He's a stuntman, an actor, basically a nice guy. So what's a nice guy doing in a movie like Friday the 13th?
The Hockey Mask and Butcher Blade are familiar figures to fans of fear. So familiar, the bloodthirsty butcher behind the blade is known on a first-name basis, Jason. Watching Jason Take Manhattan in Friday the 13th, Part 8 will give you a different picture of the real man under the mask.
Any parallels between your personality and that of Jason?
I certainly hope not. I'd like to think I'm a little nicer than he is.
Do you have to gear yourself up, get yourself ready to take on these roles?
I do kind of a lot of growling and guttural type roaring, as it were. Gets my adrenaline flowing with a stunt. I've been told that I actually scream throughout a stunt.
Kane Hodder has been a stuntman on the Hollywood scene for more than 10 years. He's had bit parts in a number of sitcoms and movies, including American Ninja Part 2. Friday the 13th, Part 7 was his first starring role, and Part 8 his second.
Bringing Jason here to Manhattan out of the murky depths of Crystal Lake gives new dimension to the horror series. Casting Kane as the lead role for the second time is also a first. 6 other actors have played the part. Although Kane is a little out of character as Jason, the part seems to fit him perfectly.
It's a big challenge to come off scary without looking like you're trying to act scary. It's very hard to get points across without being able to use facial expressions, which of course I can't do because of the mask, and with just doing body movements. And it's quite a challenge, and that part of it really appeals to me because being as I'm the first one to play the character a second time, I'd like to think that it's because of looking natural.
When Kane isn't scaring people half to death, he spends much of his time helping them heal. He does a lot of charity work with children. Hodder says in his younger years, he was known to raise a little Kane. But an accident during a fire stunt a while ago almost cost him his life and months in a burn center. He's healed now, but he keeps going back.
I think I do a lot of good at burn centers, especially with kids, because you get to the point where you start giving up, and you need to have somebody there that is looking totally normal, other than having scars, and you can see, well, maybe there is a normal life I can have after this.
Kane works hard to maintain what he calls his normal life. At 6'3", 215 pounds, this gentle giant puts himself through a rough conditioning routine. To bring out a little of the monster in the man, I challenged him to a game of racquetball. It didn't take long to see his other side.
This guy's a killer.
Despite the ultimate compliment from Killer Kane, it didn't take long for him to cut me down to size. This is another scene in which most people wouldn't picture Jason. A serene setting on the beach with his girlfriend Susan. It's one of the reasons he doesn't mind walking in the shadow of the stars right now and remaining the man behind the mask.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, when I do things where people know that I will be there, then there's plenty of the recognition that you like to have from time to time. But on the other hand, I don't lose any privacy, and I'm used to kind of being in the background, having been a stuntman for so long.
Of any box office movie this year. Our next movie is Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, an immoral and reprehensible piece of trash that sold more tickets on its opening weekend than any other movie so far in 1984, and that is a very, very depressing commentary. It really makes me sad to think of all those moviegoers spending $4.50, $5, most of them teenage kids, sitting there watching this sad, cynical, depressing movie. Now, needless to say, Paramount Studios, the distributor of this film, didn't authorize any clips of the film for use on television. They like to make the money, but maybe they're a little bit ashamed of the movie. They like to hide it from critics like ourselves. But here are some scenes from the Coming Attractions trailer showing that the fourth Friday the 13th movie is just a cynical retread of the first three.
3 times before, you have felt the terror, known the madness, lived the horror. But this is the one you've been screaming for. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Jason is back. He moves like a shadow, dark and silent.
Sorry you changed your mind?
He never utters a word. He doesn't even seem to breathe.
Where the hell's the corkscrew?
He simply, mindlessly, mercilessly kills. But now, Jason's reign of terror is over.
Yeah, real great. Jason, you can't hear him, you can't see him, he hardly even breathes. He's the latest word in leading men from the geniuses at Paramount Pictures. You get the idea. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, is 90 minutes of teenagers being strangled, stabbed, impaled, chopped up, and mutilated. That's all this movie is. It's just mindless, bloody violence. And just think of the message this film offers to its teenage audience. The world is a totally evil place, this movie says. It'll kill you. It doesn't matter what your dreams and hopes and ambitions are. It doesn't matter if you have a new boyfriend or a new girlfriend or you've got plans for the future. You can forget those plans because you're going to wind up dead. There is literally nothing else in this movie. And the sickest thing is, this isn't the final chapter. That's just an advertising gimmick. The ending clearly sets up a sequel. And what I want to know is, I wonder if they're going to be heartless and cynical enough to make the sequel, because why not? They've already taken the bucket to the cesspool 4 times for this sludge. I think the people who made this movie ought to be ashamed of themselves, and that's what I think, Gene.
Yeah.
And I'm going to vote no.
I had a feeling you might. I got as upset as you did. I don't know whether the teenagers, the message will be of this film that the world is hopeless out there, because I think that anybody who sees this picture will see it either the way you did and I did, which is that it's just a mayhem film, or you might as well watch car accidents edited together, or they will think it's just a lark and just a fun. I don't think anyone's going to take this as a worldview picture. I really don't.
But wait a minute. See, the thing is, they made the first one. Okay.
I thought it was horrible.
The first one was horrible. Then they made the second one.
Yeah.
Then they made the third one,
and then
3D. Then they made this one. By now, all it is the teenagers go to Crystal Lake and they're killed.
Roger, we don't have a dispute about the film. The only point that I'm making, because
have you seen all 4 of them? What are they trying to tell you?
No. Well, they're trying to give kids as a roller coaster ride, and instead of the thing of falling off the roller coaster, it's will you get stabbed in some way?
Will you get disemboweled and eviscerated?
It's a terrible film. I'm just holding you back a little bit from what sounds a little bit soapboxy in terms of kids are going to take this as this is the way the world is. I don't think they'll do that. But what I am saying is this, that the film is literally about stabbing. In other words, if you like this picture, what you have liked, I believe, is the idea that someone will get a stick put through their body, because that's the essence of this movie. And the surprise is, it's not surprising.
I did probably sound a little soapboxy, but I'll tell you, I'm not saying the kids are going to believe it. I'm saying this is what the message is in the movie. Now, I sat in a theater, and I saw this with some kids, and they were, you watch them coming in. It's an R-rated picture. That means most of the people will be under 17. They're 13, they're 12, they're 14.
Okay, it's garbage.
They're coming in. They're sitting there for 2 hours. This is supposed to be fun. They're told it's fun. They see it advertised on television. It did a lot of business. Their older brothers and sisters went to see it. And what do they see for 2 hours? Just cynical.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's a terrible film. I think a much more interesting point is that the message that it sends out is not that this is the way the world is, but that now you've really got on the subject, which is that watching girls, and it's mostly girls again, getting stuck is entertainment. See, that's the pornography.
The mindless, murderous fury that was buried with Jason has been reborn. Those who believe that the terror of Jason is buried forever, they're wrong. Memory of Jason still haunts you. You're not alone. Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning.
Continues with Friday the 13th, A New Beginning.
When the moon shines full in December, evil can come from its light. So Cinemax gives you 6 reasons to stay inside and lock the doors. 1.
What are you doing out in this mess?
2. 3.
You're sorry! Look at me!
4. 5.
Please be my
imagination.
6 spine-tingling movies that'll drive you out of your mind. Bride of Reanimator, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Curse 3, Blood Sacrifice, Popcorn, Friday the 13th, and Friday the 13th Part 2. Full Moon Madness on Cinemax in December.
There's no need to worry. Jason's been dead for years.
Oh, my God.
The horror continues. Friday the 13th, a new beginning.
They thought the nightmare was dead and buried. They were wrong. Jason lives.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, Part 6. Jason lives. Rated R.
Starts Friday, August 1st at selected theaters in the Houston area. Check news.
They thought the nightmare was dead and buried. They were wrong. Jason lives.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, Part 6. Jason lives. Starts Friday, August 1st at a theater near you.
What will Jason think of next? Friday the 13th, Part 7 on USA. Thursday night at 9.
Ben!
Michael, where is everyone? Maybe Jason can take a stab at that one. The hockey-masked horror is back. Friday the 13th, Part 7. The New Blood. Next on USA.
It's got a death curse.
Get ready for a night to remember. On a very special date.
What is this, a joke?
USA brings you 4 times the terror with a killer marathon of Friday the 13th movies. Tomorrow night, starting at 8.
Good evening, Jason. It's your night. Why? Because it's Friday the 13th on the USA Network, and you've got a lot of work to do. It's 4 terrifying movies featuring Jason at his best, all in a row.
Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
Next up, the original, the beginning of the saga. The first set of young, healthy, attractive, and soon-to-be-dead counselors on their way to Camp Crystal Lake. Friday the 13th, next on USA. back to Friday the 13th. Please remain indoors. The USA movie Friday the 13th will continue.
No.
It's Friday the 13th on USA. The Sci-Fi Channel. Don't move. Friday the 13th is back on USA. We now return to Friday the 13th.
6/5 Central.
Just when you thought it was over, the terror begins again and again and again. The Friday the 13th Killer Movie Marathon continues on USA. Coming up next.
It's Friday the 13th on USA. Good evening, Jason. It's your night. Why? Because it's Friday the 13th on the USA Network, and you've got a lot of work to do. It's 4 terrifying movies featuring Jason at his best, all in a row.
Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
Next, it's 5 years later on Crystal Lake. Things have got to have quieted down by now, haven't they? You're in for a slashing good time. On Friday the 13th, Part 2. The USA movie Friday the 13th, Part 2 will continue. Beware, Jason is back on Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Showtimes. Jason is back. He moves like a shadow, dark and silent.
Sorry you changed your mind?
He never utters a word. He doesn't even seem to breathe.
Where the hell's the corkscrew?
He simply, mindlessly, mercilessly kills. But now, Jason's reign of terror is over. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Friday, April 13th, is Jason's unlucky day. Jason goes to hell. The final Friday. The creator of the first Friday returns to bring you the last. And this is your final chance to see it. Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, rated R. Starts Friday, August 13th at a theater near you.
New Line Cinema sadly mourns the passing of a screen legend. After 13 years of sending victims to their graves, Jason is finally going to his home. Goes to Hell, the final Friday, rated R. Starts Friday, August 13th at a theater near you.
What you think of as Jason is not Jason. He wears other people's bodies like folks wear a suit. There's only one way to put an end to him for all time, and I'm the only one that knows the way.
Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, rated R. Starts Friday, August 13th. It's that time of year again. Summer heat. Summer nights. Summer guards. And summer passion that's too hot to handle. Twice the terror.
This place is cursed.
Twice a night.
Friday the 13th on USA, starting tomorrow night at 8. Time of year again. Summer heat. Summer night. Summer guys. And summer passion that's too hot to handle. Twice the terror.
This place is cursed.
Twice a night. Friday the 13th on USA, starting tomorrow night at 8. Friday the 13th is just around the corner. And so is Jason.
This place is cursed.
The terror continues.
There's something really wrong here.
Friday the 13th, parts 5 and 7 on USA. Tomorrow night at 8, 7 Central. When full moons rule the evening sky, Camp Crystal Lake begins to die. With young and able counselors slain, there's just one boy that will remain. His name is Jason, and these are his days. It's Friday the 13th on USA. Just pray that Jason's not after you as we begin Friday the 13th, Part 2, next on USA. When full moons rule the evening sky, Camp Crystal Lake begins to die. With young and able counselors slain, there's just one boy that will remain. His name is Jason, and these are his days. It's Friday the 13th on USA. So sit back and enjoy the gory fun as we begin Friday the 13th, Part 1, next on USA.
They are. I'm rich in pennies.
Well, what better time than Friday the 13th to open the last of the Friday the 13th movies? The title of this one is Jason Goes to Hell, the Final Friday. Throughout 13 years and 8 films, Jason, the hockey-masked killer of the Friday the 13th films, has hacked his way into the hearts and other body parts of audiences. Now, in the 9th and final movie in the series, Jason meets his match and goes to hell. In honor of his death, Jason is being immortalized at the Hollywood Wax Museum, and we unmasked the man behind the mask, veteran stuntman and actor Kane Hodder.
It's the most fun character I've ever played.
Kane has played Jason in 3 films and says he gets to help come up with ideas for the killer's murderous devices.
There was a, what they call a weed whacker weapon that we used, and I, along with the director, went to a hardware store and we picked that out because the guy said, I said, what is that used for? I've never seen a tool like that. And he said, it's used for trimming limbs. Perfect.
Kane also worked as the stunt coordinator on the film, sometimes in full Jason costume, which helps get a quicker response from his crew.
It seems like I do a little bit of growling before I ask someone to do something. Yeah, hey, no problem. I'll be right there.
Kane assures us that this is indeed the last Jason film. He says you can tell by the film's title.
He has a specific goal he must reach before the end of the movie or end up in hell. And you know what happens, don't we?
For those of you who wish to keep score, in 9 movies over a span of 13 years, Jason has done away with 113 victims.
It's Friday the 13th. And Jason's getting lonely. So we're sending him back to camp.
There's something really wrong here.
Twice the terror. Friday the 13th, parts 5 and 7 on USA. Tonight at 8, 7 Central.
Watch closely.
I think the Jason films, to me, are just like the same experience of going to see a driver's ed film when you're 15 years old. Can you take it? Can you stand the blood?
When full moons rule the evening sky, Camp Crystal Lake begins to die. With young and able counselors slain, there's just one boy that will remain. His name is Jason, and today's his day. It's Friday the 13th on USA. One hopes that these folks will get to heaven as we begin Friday the 13th, Part 7, next on USA. Evening sky, Camp Crystal Lake begins to die. With young and able counselors slain, there's just one boy that will remain. His name is Jason, and today's his day. It's Friday the 13th on USA. So watch these people attempt to survive. The horror of Friday the 13th, Part 5, next on USA.